Hi, I'm Jayden Cresswell. I am the Sustainability Chair for the Greater Fort Worth Area Sierra Club. I'm here today joined by my friend Oriana Silva. She is currently the Sustainability Intern for the Sustainability Department at Brookhaven College. She and I have been doing a lot of work trying to work, introduce sustainability to the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So today I thought it'd be kind of cool for us to kind of sit down and discuss sustainability. So to kind of introduce sustainability for everyone, generally speaking, it's this idea that whatever you're working with, for it to be sustainable, you're considering both the short term and the long term of it. When we start talking about things like our society and we start kind of bringing in the idea of environmental action, sustainability really means that you're focusing on how to meet the needs of today without sacrificing the needs of future generations. So if you could kind of give us a little bit of your thoughts on those ideas for a second, Oriana, to just kind of, with that being the main idea of what sustainability is, kind of what do you think?
Well, sustainability implies everything, not only ecology or environment, it's also economy, it's also poverty, it's also hunger. So it can always be implied in sustainability just by recycling, just by not throwing away food, just by sharing with the poor, or also educate people how to be more sustainable and how to preserve our natural resources, which is pretty cool. We can be sustainable just saving more water, saving more food, saving um, everything, and try to not waste too much plastic and all that stuff, basically.
Yeah, exactly. And that's those are kind of ideas that what you and I have been working with have been the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. So to kind of introduce those to everyone, the Sustainable Development Goals are behind me. They're a really great framework of thought of how to consider sustainability. So what happened was in 2015, the United Nations convened to do their intergovernmental panel on climate change. And one of the things
Mhm.
that they came up with was examining societies, what tend to be the biggest issues that need to be focused on so that climate action can really be the forefront of what's being done. So to kind of read those off for everyone really quick, we have no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being for all, quality education for all, gender equality, clean water and sanitation for all, affordable and clean energy for all, decent work and economic growth, industry, innovation, and infrastructure, reduced inequalities, sustainable cities and communities, responsible consumption and production, climate action, life below water, life on land, peace, justice, and strong institutions, and partnership for the goals. And so if you kind of group all those together, you kind of see that 1 through 12 kind of focus on the societal components or the parts that you and I are able to make conscious choices for or are able to help volunteer or work on so that every member of our society is able to get to a point that we can really consider the existential threat of climate change. And then 13 to 17 all focus on going back towards actually taking climate action and then
Yeah.
ensuring the health and well-being of nature. And with that, we're all able to then come together as a group to focus on maintaining all of those components of the rest of the goals. So my personal favorites happen to be no poverty, quality education, gender equality, and sustainable cities and communities. I feel like all of those really mesh well together because once you make it to where everyone is able to have a shared space of understanding and is able to work together in a city and a community, you can make a lot of progress to ensure that you continue focusing on and caring for the environment, which is a big part of resource management, which is what goes into having the needs met for today while not sacrificing anything for the future. Oriana, do you want to kind of go into what your favorite goals are and kind of why?
My favorite goal is especially the third one, good health and well-being, because without health we cannot achieve anything. So I can say, well, with health, we need the health. We need to be feed, so zero hunger is pretty important for me too. And quality education, because with education we can achieve the other, uh, the other 16 goals. So those are the base for developing the sustainable development goals. However, I think, and I like too much the third theme, which is climate action, because it's pretty general. It covers all the other uh, environmental goals, which are life below the water, life on land, clean water, and sanitation. Everything related with the community and the environment is included in the 13th goal, which is climate action. However, for achieving this one, we need education. And as a student, as a sustainability intern, my main purpose is to educate and to raise awareness through my fellows, also my community college. And sometimes, well, we did also workshop with kids and some elementary school around the area. So it's pretty easy to teach them how to be sustainable at home and at school. So I think if the professor, the teachers, they adapt their classes, their courses, their tasks, their homework uh, in sustainability, about sustainability, everything will be different. The kids will be taught how to be more resilient, how to be more sustainable, in an easy way. For example, they can do artwork with recycled things. Since we have the Earth Day, they can make a work of art with uh, recycled things. They can also, in their biology class, they can also do composting or like a vegetable growing competition, or everything related with the subject, and also with a sustainable use of their resources.
Yeah, and that's kind of like a big thing is that sustainability is something that, even though when you're looking at the SDGs, a large part of it goes into things that are done by government. A lot of it is really resting on us as individuals to be able to do things. And even though someone may not live in poverty, it's kind of a good understanding of how society works, that anytime that anyone in our society isn't able to progress, then we can't progress, because there's going to be something preventing both the person that has and the person that doesn't have something to effectively move forward. And there will always come a point that that will cause a problem. And so it's a big part of us being willing to understand that what happens now will always have an impact on what will happen in the future. And if we don't at least take a couple seconds to kind of stop and say, I do or don't need something, and to then say, what impact will that have on my life and what impact might that have on someone else's life? We can't really start to effectively focus on climate change, because that's really one of the biggest issues that we have to worry about, and everything that goes into having something, whether that's food or a fun toy or technology, like always comes with an impact on the environment and other people. And so if we aren't willing to kind of think about that impact, then it doesn't really serve ourselves or other people as well as it could. And we won't successfully be able to get to a point that the climate crisis is no longer this big issue that we have to consider.
It's because we need to think if we really need to buy that thing, that toy, that uh, plus that technology, maybe that cell phone. It's really worth to invest that money. Well, not invest, to waste some, because sometimes it's a waste.
Yeah.
So it's like thinking in the same growth economy, because you have to be prepared. For example, right now we have this pandemic issue, and so we are in an economic recession, and so now we need to save money. Now we need to look, oh well, if I didn't save money, if I hadn't saved money, how could we be right now? How can I be with my family if I don't have how to maintain them. So it's like we need to think more resilient and sustainable. Resilient being prepared to adapt ourselves to new and unexpected situations, and sustainable how to we can um, use the things without damaging the environment or the community.
Exactly. And that's kind of a silver lining that we have with the current coronavirus, is that we have the ability to actually consider, like, do I really want to go to the store and risk interacting with someone potentially sick and then getting something that I may not actually need? Or should I be focusing on what I already have and what I can do with what I already have? And I hope that that's kind of a mindset that people are able to develop now and are kind of able to then keep up as time goes on and we move out of the need to do shelter in place or to quarantine ourselves. And yeah, it's all truly interconnected when you think about it, with this idea of climate action and affecting climate change to where we can reduce the threat that it poses and effectively being good members of our society and realizing that everything that we're involved in is truly about community, and that base mindset is something that really is at the heart of sustainability, is that it isn't always just about us, and we can't always just focus on our needs and our end goals, because there's always the community around us that will be affected by whatever we choose to do. And it's an interesting thing to consider, and it's why I love the SDGs, because they really do help kind of simplify the thought process that goes into making a decision when it comes to a lot of things. And it makes it to where I can, when I'm have downtime, when I'm able to think, I can kind of consider, what I need to consider for myself, and then to say, within the idea of the SDGs, within this framework, how are things progressing so that I'm doing my part to help fight the climate crisis by helping everyone else as well, and seeing where I really fit within everything. So yeah. Oriana, do you have any kind of closing remarks on anything now, or the kind of things
Well,
that
I
you
think
thought?
I like the SDGs because they classify every category, so it's pretty easier to look for. Well, I'm junior. I can work in the sustainable cities and communities, or I'm biology. I can work in the life on land. So it's like they imply every every career, I can say.
Mhm.
So it's more easy to be involved. So, for example, in my case, I'm majoring in foreign languages, and my main goal is quality education right now. So I use my skills to teach them to different foreign people, not only from here. So it's like I can whoever can be involved in sustainability.
Yeah,
It's not something for scientifics or politicians or engineers. So it could be for everyone,
yeah,
and no matter the age, no matter the color, the race, or the religion, we can be all involved on it.
exactly. Well, Oriana, it's been great talking to you. Thank you so much for taking this time to have this discussion with me. I want to wish everyone a happy Earth Day, and I hope we're staying safe during these trying times. Have a good rest of your day.
Thank you.